Hello, Harvey. In the meantime, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot. We'll get the conversation rolling until they show up. November. Can-cans. It would be nice if you guys let me know your age and where you're tuning in from, so I have an idea how far we're reaching. Hello, Didi. Superman, hello there. I'd be grateful if you guys let me know your age and where you're tuning in from, which country, which city, so I know a little bit about you. World, welcome. This now. There we go. Okay. All right. So officially we are on our way. We have both YouTube and TikTok going live. So if you have any question regarding your breakups, you just recently broke up or whenever you broke up, and you still have a difficulty dealing with the matters and certain topics or subjects or emotional or intrusive thoughts or memories keeps you away from being able to be the way you've always been, happy and progress in your plans and projects and be able to continue on in your plans and bring them to fruition. So you want to get your balance back and have your mind relaxed about it, and then look for bigger and better things in your future. For that, you might need a little bit of a help. So this live stream partly is available for you to discuss such challenges, things to do with the breakup and how you can get your balance back and move on. And also the other topic that we entertain here is about OCD. And OCD, subsets of OCD, including HOCD, intrusive thoughts, and understanding the components of the brain involved in that glitch, and how you can help yourself to rewire the brain. And that is a part of the discussions here. So if you have a question in those regards, by all means, and pretty much any other topic that you have that is pertaining our field of discussion, you're welcome to throw it in, and I'll do my best to come up with things that I think might be interesting and important for you to help you out. Usually, traditionally, unfortunately, most of our TikTok friends are very quiet. Usually, they're just listening and observing, and all the questions comes from our YouTube friends. On YouTube, you have Mohammed joined us. Hello, Mehran. He says, hello there. Don't forget to let me know your age and where you're tuning in from, where in the world you are, both YouTube and TikTok. That would help me out to have a little bit of a mental image where you guys are, what age you are. So we have a number of people joined, but we have no questions so far. And Mohammed says 19 from India. Welcome, Mohammed. Must be what? 1 p.m. in India, is it? 1 p.m. in India? I think you're 13 hours ahead. Am I mistaken? Eric joins us. Thank you for that. Easy Street. Okay. Welcome. Emma. Again, guys, we don't have a lecture. If you guys don't have a question, there is nothing I would say. You can go on my channel on YouTube, the One Point, TheOnePoint. That's the name of the channel. It used to be called The Mind That Seeks Truth, but my site is only now called that. I changed the name for YouTube to make it a little shorter. I don't know why I did that, but it's a long time ago. So the One Point, we have over 3,000 videos regarding breakups, 2,000, regarding OCD and HOCD, about 1,000. So overall, we have over 3,000 videos on such topics and different playlists that you can choose the playlist to watch what you're looking for, or the title. Just key in a word that describes your question or your challenge or your feelings, however it is, in the search engine of my channel, not YouTube, my channel on YouTube. And you're bound to get a bunch of videos that would help you to discuss inwardly what's concerning you. All right. And Mohammed says it's 12:35. Okay, I wasn't too far off. Off by 25 minutes. And then we have Mohammed says, thank you very much for the videos. They've helped a lot of people. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. I'm delighted that the videos are helpful to many of you. Well, it's been 15 years that we've been doing this, and the videos have been accumulating and packing up and bit by bit. And definitely I put lots of time on it over the years. And they are of substance. They're not teasers to come back and buy something. They're actually discussing that particular topic, and it's not holding anything back. But should you find the videos helpful and you wanted to continue asking your questions that you may not find it in the videos or specific to you, you're more than welcome to go to my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, and make an appointment, and then we'll discuss what's concerning you on Teams, the old Skype, or even WhatsApp or whatever that works for you guys. We'll coordinate it together. Let's see if we have any question from our TikTok friends. As usual, we don't. Mohammed says, you have explained in your videos to ignore the thoughts, etc. What do you do when the fear kicks in and the brain just goes heavy and it just hijacks your brain and attention. I've described that. I didn't say ignore the thoughts. I said ignore the thoughts while you apply the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, which is, if you remember, relabel, reframe, refocus, and then evaluate. Relabel is when you feel something like you feel anxious. So instead of letting this feeling be conspicuous and be spooky about it and just be a feeling, give it a name and recognize it and describe it. So you label it. You label it from incognito to I'm feeling anxiety now. You tell yourself that what you're feeling is this. So no longer is a mystery or spooking you off because you just recognized it and called it for what it is. So it's no longer a boogeyman. So you feel anxious, I feel anxiety now. Okay, now you know what you're feeling. You put a name on it, you relabeled it. Now you reframe it. So you say, is there something wrong? Or I feel something wrong. Now, there might be something wrong, but it's not what your thoughts and brain is telling you. It's some other thing in your life that's got nothing to do with what it is that you're feeling, but you ask that question. So you reframe it. Is there something wrong? Or I'm feeling something now. Then you look around and say, well, really, there's nothing wrong. I'm feeling something now. So the feeling by itself really has no power of any sort. It's the emotional thing that is affecting you. So you just now opened up this mystery of I'm feeling weird. Huh? You labeled it, you reframed it. And now, once you have recognized what it is, interpreted what it is, you're no longer in question about what this is. I'm uncomfortable. You know what it is. Now you refocus. Refocusing is very simple. It's about taking your focus away from this, what you were just dealing with, to something very simple, such as listening to music, making some tea, drinking some tea, watching a movie, taking a walk, looking outside, I don't know, outside the window if you're at home, or something so simple that refocuses your brain, your mind, from what you were occupied with to something very simple. And doing these 3 steps, the brain evaluates it and revalues it. So revalue is number 4. After all these 3 steps, the brain revalues. And after a while, you keep treating every intrusive thought that shows up or every thought that is not its time and you don't want it to be there shows up and wants to capture your attention and preoccupy you. You treat it with the 4 steps. And every time that you do this, after many times doing it, the brain will do all those 3 steps also automatically. You don't have to now say relabel, reframe, refocus, and you do go through the steps. It just does it all just like that. As soon as something comes in, you recognize it, and the brain is very fast. So you can do it very quickly. Something wrong? Oh, that's one of those. Okay, refocus, done. And the brain revalues. And after a while, no longer the 3 is noticed, just revaluing. And that's how you rewire your brain. So I hope that answers your question. So this is how you do that. You say, what'd you say? You said the fear kicks in and the brain, it just goes heavy and it just hijacks your brain and attention. Well, that is the answer to that. You deal with it with the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz. And then it says, what to do with OCD thoughts. That is for OCD thoughts, for any kind of thoughts that you don't want it to be there and it's not clear what kind of thoughts it is. And remember, thoughts are something that makes the brain think it's an actuality. While it has no existence and it's created in the virtual world in the brain, which is living in the virtual world, but the brain doesn't recognize what's the difference between virtuality and actuality. So when the thought comes with an emotion baggage with it, emotional file with it, The brain thinks it's actuality. So it creates certain reactions of your physical body because it can't tell it's virtuality. There's no danger, there's no problem. It thinks it's actuality. Therefore, because of that, it creates reactions of your physical body. When the reactions of the physical body manifest itself and shows itself, you will see that reaction in real time. Therefore, you think that the thought is accurate. Because why? Because I'm getting a physical reaction in the real actual world. But that real actual world reaction of the body is because the brain has the power to influence the body to make it a certain reaction. No different than if you just imagine, close your eyes and imagine you've traveled to France with a tour. There's a tour guide and there's many people in the tour. You guys all got in the bus and went outside of Paris and in the vineyards, and it's out of season, but you're in the vineyard to look. It's a tour guide, and then the tour guide gives you each a cluster of grapes, green grapes, out of season. It's not ripe. It's sour like hell, in that part of it growing of the grapes, and he gives you a cluster of each, and you guys squeeze it in your mouth, bite into it, and it's so sour. And then he gives you a wedge of lime to each one of you, and you squeeze that lime on top of that green sour grape, and then your mouth start salivating. Now, if you imagine there is no grape, there is no lime, but your mouth actually salivates, even though you're not in Paris, you're not in vineyard, you've got none of these sour things in your mouth, because the brain cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality, and it still makes the body react in a physical way. That physical reaction makes you mistakenly think that the thought was correct. That's why I have a physical reaction. But if you come to your senses and go through the 4 steps, you realize that it's just bogus because I've got saliva here because of my thoughts made my body react. But actually, I'm at home. I'm not in France. There is no grape. So you can realize that what the brain conjures up is just bullshit. That's a very scientific way of putting it, but that's how it works. And so, what else did you ask here? Hijacks your vision. That's how it hijacks you, because it gives you a bodily reaction, and the bodily reaction convinces you that the thought, which is non-existent, it's got no business being there, just fictitious, you believe that is correct. So that's what you want to watch out for. And it says, you also said, can the brain literally associate anything with your theme and it just gets overwhelming? Literally anything, like where you're looking, etc. I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. Next question is, when refocusing the trigger, you're not refocusing the trigger, you're refocusing you. Thoughts, etc. Okay. One is still in the background, so we just continue to do the task. It doesn't matter where it is. When you refocus, that's the idea, to leave this behind and go to something that is actual, real. Because thoughts are not real, but they do affect the body with certain emotion and certain reaction. And certain emotion and reaction, that's what bothers you. Angry, anxious, fearful, worried, all of that are because of the thought. So change the thought, change the emotion. So for that reason, you bring the jig up on the thought. I'm feeling anxiety right now. Now you just called it for what it is, anxiety. Is there something wrong? I'm feeling something. Oh, I'm feeling something. There's nothing wrong here. So you're kind of opening this up rather than letting it be closed and questionable. There's something wrong that you can't tell, but no, you open it up and identify it, and then you relax and refocus on something pleasurable, like a cup of tea or have a cookie or go to the gym, refocus. Something simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then Muhammad says, also, there is another thing that OCD sufferers go through. What if I'm doing something wrong? For example, if you're talking and the fear kicks in, wherein the brain says you are doing something wrong. But I don't understand the question. What do you mean, wherein the brain says? The fear, first of all, you have to understand what is fear. There is no real fear. Fear comes when you compare what it was to what it is to what it could be. The comparison between these times, and these times are created by thought because it's the memory. By the way, time is thoughts. Thought is time. Because when you go into a thought, you separate yourself from the moment, present moment, you go in the past. Now you create time. When you come here and then conjure up something that could happen in the future but hasn't happened yet, you again create a time, but the time that that thing might be happening in it, that you just conjured up, is not even here yet. But you start worrying about it. So all of that, you have to recognize that the brain has no power. It seems it has lots of power. It has power to affect your body to react or give you certain emotions that is not favorable. But it has no actual power to turn any of these thoughts, fearful thoughts, worry thoughts, into actual life of yours. The only person who has the power to allow any thought to become a reality, in actuality, become a certain action, is you, the awareness. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. You're the awareness. The awareness, you, is the one who's looking at the thoughts, at the brain's production. And on that basis, you're supposed to judge the thoughts, treat the thoughts, and then choose or veto the thoughts. You are the master, not the brain. You're not the brain. Brain is not you. And what makes thoughts? Brain. If you're not the brain, brain is not you, you're not the thoughts. The thoughts are not you. But you have to understand what is the relationship with them and that you're the boss. You don't live with the secretion of the brain, which are thoughts. You live with your choices and vetoes. You have 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. You're not aware of every one of them because there is a certain mechanism in midbrain basal ganglia in the striatum called caudate nucleus. Caudate nucleus's job is that anything that is not in line with your values shows up and it quickly realizes that's not about you, it's not in line with your values, it shuts it up. So a person who doesn't have an OCD might get certain kind of intrusive thoughts, say, ooh, that's nasty, and boom, caudate nucleus shuts it up, closes it, and you're gone, focused to something else. OCD brains, like me and many other people, when they're in the OCD glitch, if they haven't rewired their brain yet, while they're going through it, when such intrusive thought shows up, the caudate nucleus is malfunctioning. So it doesn't do its job right away. So it kind of gets stuck in that gear. It's like a automatic gearbox of a car that is malfunctioning, is not changing gear in time. So in other words, if you're going supposed to change, but some cars in their gearbox is malfunctioning. So you go doesn't change the gear. So in that way, you got to help the caudate nucleus is that gearbox, automatic gearbox. When it malfunctions, you're supposed to help it out. How? By the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz and many other techniques. So this is what happens when you still get caught with that. That's why you understand how to help the brain, how to kickstart it or push it, rewire it by these 4 steps. So caudate nucleus comes back to its normal function. So where was I? Because I lost the train of my thoughts. Where was I? Hmm. All right. I think, I think I explained enough. I forgot that. Let's see if we have any questions here before I go any more questions from our YouTube channel. We have no questions from TikTok. TikTok people are good listeners. They have no questions whatsoever. All right, so let's continue here. And Stephen is here, male 44 Los Angeles. Thank you for that. And he says, good evening, man. Good evening, Stephen. Good to see you. I trust everything is okay. I haven't heard from you for a while. And all right. Mohammed says also there's another thing that OCD suffers. Oh, you did this. For example, you're talking and it kicks it where the brain says you are doing okay. You were going to explain that. And Mohammed says, what I meant to say is because of OCD, you are overwhelmed. You just get aware of anything that is related to your OCD. Yes, because I tell you why. You aren't focused on what's happening in real life. I see. Yes. Well, let me continue on what I was saying, and I will cover your question just as you asked here. So in the striatum, we talked about caudate nucleus and its malfunctioning. That's why you get these thoughts stick in your head and they don't disappear. They don't decimate or dissipate. In regards to why you're focused on your OCD stuff and not the real life, again, in midbrain basal ganglia, the striatum, there are three centers, among other things, in the striatum. One is called, listen carefully, one is called goal finding center, goal finding circle, or goal finding center. That is how we can explain it. Is like when you have an obsession about, let's say, an OCD behavior, a physical OCD ritual, such as you think your hands are dirty. That's an obsession. And it's not dirty, but you think it's dirty. Even though you washed it, you think it's dirty. That's the obsession. The compulsion for it would be what? To go wash your hands. That's washing your hands. The compulsion is the goal in here. Let's imagine that. Let's attribute this to the goal finding. So the first center is talking about goal finding center. You feel obsession with hands are dirty. You want to do the compulsion to wash your hands. And when you do the compulsion, the second center is stimulated. The second center is reward center. That's where the dopamine is secreted. When you do the compulsion of an obsession, my hands are dirty, I go wash it. That comfort, security, I'm clean now, OCD is a little bit relieved, is when the second center secretes dopamine. That's where the comes from. But when you keep doing this obsession and compulsion, dirty hand, wash the hand, and the dopamine, after a while, dopamine is addictive. So after a while, you're not just doing the compulsion, washing hand, for the obsession. You're doing it to also get the dopamine. That's why you're now actually focusing on where is the excuse for me to wash my hands. The OCD is now being encouraged, not because OCD getting worse, because you're now into the seeking the dopamine. So for getting the dopamine, you need to do something. For that reason, you're looking for OCD signals. You're unknowingly encouraging OCD to get worse, to do more compulsions, to get more obsessions. And so because you get more what is it? Dopamine. But you're not aware of it. Now, here's the kicker. The third circle in the striatum is the habit center. These three circles are on top of each other. So when you do the obsession, when you do the compulsion for the obsession, it stimulates the reward center, which is the dopamine center, at the same time stimulates the habit center without you noticing it. So after a couple of hundred times you do the compulsion, you're no longer doing it for the obsession, you're doing it to get the dopamine. And after a few hundred times doing it for the dopamine, you're no longer doing it for the obsession nor for the dopamine. You're doing it because it's your habit now. And you don't even notice why you're doing it. It's just your habit. That's why it's imperative. Before it gets into habit, you start using 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz and get better on it and get the hold and control on it. Otherwise, when it becomes habit, then it becomes difficult to get it out. You got to now focus on reasons of health, because that also works, to get out of the habit, and then so on, work backward. So I hope that helps you out, because that was a really complete discussion. You can see on our live or the videos, we don't have a teaser answers unless it's too involved and we don't have enough time. Like I spent lots of time in here, but I thought it's important for you to know how to deal with this, where you can find all these, what I just said, in the videos, and you don't have to actually just rely on the live streams. And Mohammed says, thank you very much for the answers. You're quite welcome. Now let's go for the other questions. We have Alexander Ore. Oh, Alexander, how are you? He says, hello, Mehran. How are you doing? Nice to see you again. Alex, male 38, Macedonia. Welcome. Glad that you're here. And Miyamoto Gang. Oh, you added that. It was Miyamoto before, no? Now Miyamoto Gang says, yo, what's up, boss? Remember me? Yes, I do. But I think you changed your call letter, didn't you? The gang wasn't there, was it? Says, how are you doing? Been so long. I know, it's been so long. You know why it's been so long, guys? Let me explain. I've been very focused on creating two apps for you guys, for anybody. I think it could help millions of people 24/7 without having to make an appointment with me in a specific. It's cheaper, at the same time is available, and it doesn't have that back and forth of texting to get the coordination of the appointment for your time zone, my time zone. It could be in Australia, it could be in India, it could be anywhere. And that takes maybe a day or two to arrange it. But with the app, and this is the way an app works. It's actually brilliant, I must say. I'm not prejudiced about that, but I'm unanimous on that. The way it works is that you open the app, which is now about to be published. We're still going through the last stages of Google, and then we'll have the other app also uploaded, and then we'll have them both also on Apple Play. Right now, the way it is, let's say the app is functional or operational, you click on it, opens up, you go through the legalities or, child safety and all the other things that is recommended for every app to have. And then you will see many chapters or many clusters or chapters of 20 questions each. Each cluster or each chapter, there could be 10 of them, and eventually it'll be like 30, 40, 50 of them. Each of these chapters will have 20 questions in them. Let's say it's the breakup app. So you'll have 20 questions pertaining breakups. And you'll read these questions. It's open for you. You haven't paid yet. You'll read these questions in one chapter. You'll see 20 questions there, and you say, oh, that sounds interesting, but I'm still looking for some other questions that pertains me. So you open the next chapter, and there's 20 questions in there. You look through that, and eventually, after a bunch of chapters, you look and say, wow, this one out of the 20 questions, most of it is what I really want to know about. So you then pay for that, and it opens up to ask the questions from you, and you have an opportunity to answer it now, yes or no. Based on every yes that you put, it makes that particular discussion on that question available to you in the form of a booklet, very nicely done, and allows you to have it on your file, because you open an account is free. You open it, and it allows you to open those every time you come in, maybe, I don't know, for a year. You can just access to them and listen to them again and again. And let's say a month later, you come back and says, well, listen, I have this question and that question now that it wasn't in that other chapter. So you look at the chapters again and you find them, and you pay for that, and you click on that, and you say yes to the answer to the question, and then you get those recordings as well, and you listen to my explaining of that particular question that you want the answer, you want the information on. And that's available 24 hours, and it's complete, and you don't have to make an appointment. It's much cheaper. I think every chapter is like, to talk to me for about an hour and a half, you pay $150 US. But the chapter, if let's say you say yes to all the 20 questions in that chapter, that would be something like 3-4 hours of recording, or 2 hours of recording, depending on how long they are. But 20 of them, at least, even if there's 10 minutes each, it's 200 minutes, or 5 minutes each, that'll still be 100 minutes. It's a lot long. It's much more economical, and it's right away, and it's $85 instead of $150. So I think it's economically viable for everybody to enjoy it. It's much faster, much cheaper, and complete. And we're constantly adding these chapters, each 20 questions in them. So you'll have ample number of things to find to see if it suits you, and you'll choose that and you go on. And the same system for the OCD and HOCD and OCD subsets and intrusive thoughts. And these two apps, I've been working on them with my developers for about a year now. We are almost there. We were just about to go public, but we had a little bit of a article that they wanted to be included for child safety. And no matter how much we explain that we are not a dating site, so nobody is introduced to anybody. It's just about their questions. But it's their regulations, I guess. So we have to now include that in the program. That takes a bit of a time. And that's why I haven't been able to actually focus on new videos or come in and have live streams. But now I feel a little bit, done my job from communicating with you, with Google, and now the developers are working on it. Hopefully we should have it not too long. Once we have it ready, we send it back again for their approval. And then once it's open, then the way we go. So that's my answer for why haven't I been around for a while. And then we have, Alexander says, between cortex and caudate nucleus, I feel something who is beyond me and take with force my attention. No, it's just the fact that you haven't been doing the 4 steps long enough, repetitive enough to be able to have your brain automatically, once these things shows up, make the caudate nucleus work. Automatically focus on things that you want to focus rather than these things, because these things affect your amygdala, which feels a certain kind of a danger. So it sends emotional danger signals. And then you react to that emotional danger signal. You think it's emergency to pay attention to it, and your focus goes there because it's considered something so immediate. But you got to calm all these down by these exercises and so on and so forth. So that is the way to handle that. And say, there you go. Alexander says, amygdala every time puts me in panic mode. Yes, but when it does, you have to recognize that the amygdala is overactive and sending emotional danger signals that doesn't exist. So you can't be taking every signal seriously, but it does. When amygdala sends an emotional danger signal because it's overactive and it has no narrative to it, because it sends the emotional danger signal, but there's no substance, there's no narrative to. So prefrontal cortex says, there's a danger signal coming, but there is no narrative to it. And what's the most important or fearful for this guy at that moment? And based on what you've been going through, picks up on that narrative and adds that narrative to that danger signal that it was just sent without a content. Then suddenly you give it a content, you have given it interpretation, because that's where you're focusing. You haven't used the 4 steps to keep the prefrontal cortex and keep the rest of them just doing their own thing. Instead, they're focusing on this because you're focusing on this. So if you get involved and engage with the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, you get your focus out of these nonsense garbage discussions, so on, that happens in your head, depending on what's happening in your life. And then you will not be bogged down with this. And prefrontal cortex is not going to be making up something based on what's been going on in your head. And I've been actually discussing that with me today, because there are some things that is in my mind and I'm constantly thinking about it for no reason, because I don't need to. So I quickly became aware of it, that I'm entertaining something that is oblivious. I mean, it's useless and it's not necessary for me to prepare for it or go over it, because we go over things in our brain because we want to fix something that was done wrong to us, something that we know what to do, but it hasn't brought that result back. So we keep doing it in our head. We go through scenarios because our brain doesn't recognize the difference between virtuality and actuality. So when we go through it and keep thinking about it, come up with discussions and debates in it, or processes that we need to take, the brain thinks or feels as if it's actuality. So it gives you that satisfaction of the dopamine, because you did something about a certain problem or certain wrong done to you, either by other people or whatever it is that is occupying your mind. And therefore, that's why you need to use the 4 steps. So not to do that. In other words, say, when it's time, I will deal with it, but right now it's not necessary for me keep going in there to fix it, because I cannot fix something that needs to be fixed when it's time for it. So don't start on something and thinking that I fixed it, although it's virtual, but the brain gets a signal of actual, gives you dopamine, and because of that dopamine makes you feel good, you now wants to constantly think about it to get that dopamine to feel good, because it hasn't yet been satisfactory to you. So don't fall for that and say, okay, it's not satisfactory. When it's time and the opportunity is there, I'll do what needs to be done. But for now, I need to focus on this or on that or whatever it is. I'm cooking or whatever it is. Yeah. All right. Very good questions. And Subhik Sharangan. Okay, I hope I didn't butcher the name. It says, what about these intrusive, disturbing dreams? Some struggle with that too. All right. So, would you like to explain a little bit more about the dreams? Because obviously, there's something in your mind during the day that you're constantly thinking about these intrusive thoughts, whether you want to get rid of them, whether you're entertaining them, whether you're debating with somebody or some topic or something that it was not favorable to you, or it's not acceptable or satisfactory to you, the concept or the topic or the outcome. And because you're occupied with that during the day, when you sleep, your brain is going to turn the most recent thoughts, most continuous thoughts during the day would stay on top of the filing cabinet in the brain. So that would be the one that comes to the dream, because at the dream, you're quite calm enough that he wants to continue finishing that train of thoughts that all day long you've been thinking about it. So brings it to that dream. Whether that's the case, or the dream has nothing to do with what you're thinking during the day, or what you're occupied with, or what intrusive thoughts you're repeating into yourself. So that's why I asked you if you would kindly give me a little bit more information on that. So I would be able to at least talk about one tangent of it. In the meantime, I go with Muhammad says, how's the progress with the app? Oh, yeah, I just mentioned to you, it's doing well. We're hoping to add the necessary additions and update it and then send it for approval. And Miyamoto says, if you need developer, I'm also, oh, you are, Miyamoto. Well, right now it's in the hands of my developer, and they're in Pakistan, and the rate is very good, and they're very good. They're very diligent, very polite, very caring, very fast. And what else can I say? And the price is right. But now that I know, I never knew that. You guys never tell me anything about yourselves. This is, how are you, Mehran? And it says, glad to hear from you working on the app. I thought you gave up on channel. No, I didn't. I didn't at all. This is eventually how I want to retire, because I love these topics. As you can see, when you ask me a question, I do my best to answer them, because in my heart, I want to help. And it's not a bullshit word that every creator might say just to look good. But my actions, you can tell the people not by what they say, but also by their actions. My actions show that when there is time and place correctly designated, when you ask me a question, I always responded completely. Not as a teaser so you can go and buy a book from me or buy something or make an appointment. I give you the whole shebang as much as the time and relevancy allows. So for that reason, this is what I love. This research, this experience, this helpfulness, this sharing the information with you guys all. I love that. I genuinely love that. Much more than the work that I've done for 35 years that, gave me the money to spend on my life and have a lifestyle. But this is what I like to do. So I'm hoping to retire with this function. It's been now 15 years that I've started the channel. So there's lots of information, lots of research, and lots of passion into this and experience. So hopefully that we can get those apps and help a lot more people. And that is my intention, to help a lot more people. And so make it affordable for them and also make it worthwhile for me. Otherwise, I'm not a millionaire, independently rich. So, in other words, I'm not a government body to scam people out of their money through taxes and all that, and then spend it everywhere else. And in the name of governing, what's going on here in Canada, God knows. And Miyamoto says, you gotta lock in this time, Mehran, for support to you. Say that. Let's see. It says, you gotta lock in this time, Mehran. Full support to you. Oh, I see. Can't wait to see the new app. Time to make great comeback. That's for sure. But I have a beef against all of you, not all of you who are here, my subscribers, or maybe YouTube. The quality of the channel shows that this channel should have had 2-3 million subscribers, because as you can see, 3,000 videos is not a chicken feed, and every video has been lots of time and effort and passion into it and information. But somehow I think YouTube hasn't really distributed my videos to let people know, or maybe I'm not found somehow, whether it's tagging I'm doing wrong, or whether it's YouTube doesn't like what we're doing. I don't know what's going on. But after 15 years, 28,000 subscribers, when every single one on our live streams or on my private appointments, they swear by this channel or the content or our discussions. So it's a very helpful channel, yet we're the subscribers. So that's why it should have been a lot more popular. Mama says a great app is coming to help you. Thank you. Miyamoto says my HOCD is gone from a year thanks to you. I think what helped me was exposure and your talks, of course, and I'm living happily now. Excellent. And don't ever be bothered if it ever comes back, because these are residuals that the brain, again, remembers, acts on the memory of that habit, and then you do the same for it. At least you won't freak anymore because you know what it is. It's a glitch. It's got nothing to do with you. So that's very good, and you're safe. This channel should have been out there for more people. I know, Muhammad. Don't tell me about it. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, guys, for the past, on different note, on personal note, for the past 6 days, I started new exercises in my workout at the gym that I had not ever done, which includes the kettlebell, the thing, this big thing that I do a halo all around, and then I do the left and right, and then between the legs and all the way up, and then back down, and also down and up. So every time I do a bunch of these, 50, 100 reps, and then on top of that, the same night, I put my hands on the bench press and then jump this side and that side and this side and that side. Tonight, I hit 52 consecutive jumps from left and right. And so I started with 20, and then now I'm at 52. So I do 4 or 5 sets of 20, 30, 40, 50. And boy, the muscles that ache, I never thought I had them. Places there that I never had pain there. Here. My whole sternum is like gonna tear apart, especially because in Aikido, we roll and throw, and then combination of these throwing on the ground and rolling kind of moved my sternum, I guess, or I think it was the gym that I did the flies, and I used to do heavy ones, like 200. Everything that was there, the fly was easy for me somehow. So all of that made my sternum a little bit sensitive. So when I do all these new things with the kettlebell and jumping from this side to the other side of the bench press, everywhere hurts. I mean, so much that for the past 3 nights, I haven't felt doing any bench press or biceps or anything. I don't want to lift anyway. Everything is sore. So let's see if our TikTok friends are still quiet. No questions here. If my TikTok friends don't have a question, the question is, what are you doing here? Don't waste your time. Yeah, no questions. We've got lots of people here. Let's see, where does it tell me how many people are here? 227. All right, but no questions. All the questions comes from my YouTube channel. Muhammad says, how is Aikido as a martial arts? Fellow martial artist here. Oh, good. Aikido, there are different styles of Aikido. Shinshin Toitsu Aikido, that's what I trained with Toi Sensei. God bless his soul. But Ueshiba Sensei was the founder of Kino Kenkukai Aikido. And then Toi Sensei was one of his chief instructors. And when Ueshiba Sensei died, Then he separated with a few other of the chief instructors, and he started his own dojo. And one of the differences was that in Shishitoitsu Aikido, Toisense's style, he taught the students from day one about ki, about the energy of the universe, universal energy, mind and body coordination, and how to manifest that oneness with the nature, oneness with mind and body, oneness with the universal energy. But in Ueshiba Sensei's theory, apparently the students would be working eventually after many, many years to feel that and grasp it without the explanation from day one. So it would be a mystery of how that power really works until they stumble on it or feel it through repetitions of practice and hearing it or seeing it and so on. But in Toy Sensei's way, he has found a way to explain it, and he explained it so well. So I've read a few of his books in my time, and of course we train. And I taught here in town for 35 years, and then eventually was a little bit busy with other things. So, okay. Somehow I had to drag a puzzle piece to continue. Let's see. 21 new messages, but there's no message. It's just telling me that who joined. Fortune Catchu joined. Welcome. Mitchell Richard joined. Commandant Bolo joined. Welcome, all of you. Can joined, but no questions. I think, well, anyhow, thank you for joining. And Shahir Hasnat says, how to cure. First of all, I want to know your age and where you're tuning in from, Shahir. And so then I will read your question. I'd appreciate that to be part of that. And Kosar Star says, hello, Master. Kosar 26, Kurdistan. Oh my goodness, welcome. Kurdistan, which part of Kurdistan? The Turkish side, Iran side, Iraq side, Syria side? Which one? And Shahir says, age 22 from Pakistan. Ah, great, welcome. So let's see what Shahir's question is. He says, how to cure blank mind, no thoughts, no emotion, total, what? Anhedonia, how to cure it? Well, first of all, no thoughts, you're blessed. So you can choose a thought, create a thought. You think there is no thought, but you're focused on something else. I don't know. I don't know enough about your condition. And as you all know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychotherapist, and therefore I don't want to interfere with any medical thing. Uh, about this particular topic, I don't know enough about your condition and what exactly it means. I might already know what I can say about it, but I need to digest it in proper way about the condition that you're talking about. One moment. I think I read this a while ago. Um, just give me a moment. Let me look at my notes here. Yeah. I remember now. Well, have you? I don't see. That's why I don't know enough about you. Have you been into any substance abuse or whatnot? Because sometimes abuse of substances leads into depression, and depression is the platform for this deficiency, that it translates into inability to seek pleasure, or but in reality the roots of it is lack of motivation, and the lack of motivation is linked to depression. And one of the many reasons of depression is substance abuse. So I don't know what you have been exposed to maybe we could address that. Miyamoto says, did you miss my message? Miyamoto says, Mehran, do you believe in God? If yes, which one? There are thousands of gods on earth. Yeah, I know, especially in India, you guys have 50,000, 50 million gods. If this doesn't do what you want, you choose another one. So you can actually put them against each other. Hey, listen, you better give me what I want, otherwise I'm going to be worshiping that. Well, let me explain to you my understanding. One question for me was that I didn't create this world. We know that. But that doesn't mean it wasn't created. Because nothing comes from nothing. And something cannot come from nothing. Because if there is one, you cut it in half, it's still half, but there's still half. You cut that in half, there's still half. Cut that in half, there's still half. Half, a half, a half, a half, a half, a half. Never becomes zero. So there must have been something that has created something. Because the something cannot come by itself. The one cannot come from 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. Suddenly we have one. We don't. The one is one. That's one thing. Second, when I look at all the organized system, intelligence, or sometimes, in my opinion, lack of it, but there must be a living being, a living intelligence that has been able to create these phenomenally organized, symmetric arrangement of leaves of a plant, for example. It cannot be randomly like that. The birds can fly and we can walk, and the different cellular structure and different abilities in the ocean, some animals and so on. It's so complicated that it's impossible to think that this thing just came by itself. So there must be a creator. Now, whatever you want to call that creator, God, nature, universe, I don't care. It all means the same to me. So I do, yes, believe that there is something way higher than me. Otherwise, I couldn't be here. There is a creator for something. It's like saying you live in your house and that table just appeared. No, you made it. You got wood and you put them together and you created. If you didn't do it, nothing in your house could be by itself. So you're the one who creates things. You have to be there. So there has to be something to create me, especially with all the capabilities that we have. So in a way, yes, I do. I don't know what it is. I haven't been in contact with it. I haven't been fortunate enough. But my own life itself is an evidence that there is something way higher than me as a creator. Thinking about the heartbeats, just luckily, everything else that works in our, and it's designed for doing certain purpose, it's quite bizarre if you think that there is no creator. I mean, I can't think that all these things comes from nothing. There has to be something to make something else. So that's basically as far as I can really make sense out of it. Mehmet said, I don't have 1,000 gods. I'm not Hindi or Muslim. Muslims don't have 1,000 gods. They only have one. Okay. Anyhow, that was my answer in regard to God. Mohammed Jan, that question is one of those questions that needs a lot more time and discussion. I can't bring that up here because that will be a whole complete, at least 25-minute discussion. The cause for OCD can be past events and trauma, not necessarily. I have had OCD since childhood, all kind of OCD. You name it, I had it. But there was no trauma. It's just the roots of OCD, in my research, in my opinion, is that in pursuit of psychological security, especially when we are children, we're so afraid of losing our parents, losing our comfort, losing our home, our room, our toys, the things that the comfort that we have in our life that our parents have given to us. And somehow we want to establish permanency for that and protect that. And we don't know how. We have no way. So what we do, we come up with certain kind of a barter deal with some fictitious power out there that we think is watching. We do a deal that if I turn this light switch on 5 times, then things will be synchronized and you will allow what I want to be the way I want. These are mental satisfaction of that lack of psychological security, which is never attainable, but we seek it in order to make our life feel secure and not lose our parents, not lose our goodies, not lose the things that we love. Because with everything that we love in this life, there would be an automatic fear of losing it. You're married, you fear that she's leaving. You have a girlfriend, you fear that she's going to leave you. You have a nice car, you fear that it's going to key it. You have a house, you fear you fear that if it's going to be burnt down or taken away by the bank. You have a job, you fear of losing it. You have money, you fear of losing. Somebody steal it, or you make a bad investment and all that. So you have a good life and comfortable life, whatever it is to you is comfortable at that age, a childhood age. You fear of lose that, and you feel so helpless, and you don't know what to do. So you barter with some fictional dealing that makes you believe and satisfied that things will be okay because you prayed for it or you did something for it. And that gets into that obsession, compulsion, and dopamine reward, and then habit. And after a while, your brain is conditioned to, I got to do this to make sure that this will stay as it is for me and I won't lose it. So psychological security is seeking that, and the fear of losing your parents and so on is the basis for that, for OCD, at least to some parts. And some parts, kids maybe don't even realize it. And sometimes it hits you when you're older. And those are, again, to do with the amygdala and glitches in the brain and components of brain called it nucleus and all the other things that could have. So it's not necessarily about trauma or anything. Okay, Mohammed, thank you for that. What else do we have? Yamata says, well, the creator must have creator also. That's the whole thing. I don't know. That's the part that I've thought a lot of. Um, but I come to conclusion that if you believe, then there's a God. I choose to believe because I'm smaller than what powers I seek or hope to back me up. And I can't have that real actual power. So it doesn't hurt if I believe that there's something bigger and better than me, and I could maybe rely on that and hope that it will favor me. And best thing I can offer is to be the best version of myself. Be honest, be good, be kind, be not vicious, and defend myself and do my best for my family, for myself, for the people that I know. Wish everyone well. You know, that's the basic humanity that we hope to bring to fruition in our lives. And for that, I don't expect anything other than the fact that if I have one wish, my wish would be that there is a God. Because if there is, then I have no problems because everything is in his hand or in his uh, judgment. I don't need to worry about anything, dying, living, whatever. I just do my best, live my life, live my journey as best as I can, be positive and contribute to my family, society in a positive way, be a good human being. And that's every human being's duty as far as I'm concerned. The rest of it, I wouldn't have a problem. Why? Because there is one. So if I have one wish, instead of this wish, that wish, I just wish there is a God. So that's where I am. Yeah, yeah, that's right. All right, guys. Again, our TikTok friends have no questions. Oh, okay. So it's been, how long is it? It's been 1 hour and 15 minutes, guys. I think there's no more questions. And I think we've done a good job tonight. Had a good conversation. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I think it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. And I look forward to our next live stream. And Kosa, we will discuss yours next time because I think we had enough tonight. And if you don't mind, I'll be sure that next time your first question would be yours. So in the meantime, I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourselves and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.